Hey folks, Adam here.
And I'm Amy.
And we're going to talk about something true to our hearts. It's Rome. And we had a great time at Rome, but there's some reasons you may not want to go there right now. So we're going to give you an authentic look at Rome, Italy.
Especially traveling to Rome, Italy, and what it's like right now in high season summer 2024, and maybe some tips and tricks for how to have a better trip there, and maybe some reasons why you might want to rethink visiting Rome this summer.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Amy's got a few different things that we've written down. But first and foremost, this is the high season. So if you're looking to book your trip to Rome, you may want to wait till it's not summer when all the backpackers and all the tourists and everyone on summer vacation is there, because you're going to experience long lines and big crowds at those memorable locations. Trevi Fountain is going to be packed. The Colloseum is going to have a half-hour wait, even if you have tickets in advance.
So, speaking of tickets in advance, I think one big thing that has changed about visiting some of Rome's larger landmarks like the Colosseum and the Vatican in the last, over the last decade, is that you have to have tickets now, and they are hard to get, and they do sell
Tickets
out.
in advance.
And some of them are quite expensive. I'm saying that a lot of times the general admission tickets, they sell out first. Those are the ones that are more reasonably priced. If you're going on a busy day in the summer, they likely have already sold out for the summer, and you are going to be looking at buying a guided tour that is several $100s.
Not to call it a scam, but there is a little bit of an issue. If people buy up all those tickets, then scalpers will resell them, or tour groups will sell them as part of their tour, and that's the only way you can see some of these locations. How much did we pay for our tour pretty much of the Forum and Colosseum?
We got a better deal because we booked through our cruise ship. So about, I think it was like $120, $140 a person.
Yeah. How much
per
was it if
person.
you were to book it, if we take a taxi in and
If we were
book it?
to book it through just through a
Online?
taxi and online, through the Rome Day Pass, I believe, it was going to be closer to $300 a person.
And even with that tour group, we had 50 people or so in the tour group. There were literally hundreds and hundreds packed shoulder to shoulder. And then we still had to wait in line for 30 minutes before they could check our tickets. It was busier
Right.
than any Disney World experience that I've dealt with. Now, I went to Rome for several days, maybe 20 years ago, and that wasn't the case. You just walked in, but it was the off season. And I got to say, anytime you go in the off season, you go to Rome, you're going to have fewer people.
Right.
You're going to have better photography. And most likely, in general, the prices are going to be cheaper. You're going to have scalpers and people and tour groups pushing up those prices quite as much.
You're talking $15 versus $300 in a lot of cases. So you're going to get a much better deal. You're probably going to have a much better day because you're not waiting in line. You're actually able to see things, and there are fewer people, like we said all day that our hip flexors were literally sore because our steps were so small, because there were so many people everywhere we went in Rome that you couldn't even take a full-size step. So it's like you're just shuffling shoulder to shoulder with multitudes of people all day long. I'm so excited that I got to see the Eternal City. It's absolutely incredible, but I wish that I had seen it in December or January, February maybe. Not only because it was so crowded, but also Italy is hot in the summer. Even in May when we went, it was
It's like Florida.
incredibly hot. It's a very, very hot climate, and especially when you pack in that many people and that many stone, and everything is just like you're baking in a clay pot with a lot of different people.
Right.
So it's a little bit miserable in the summer. I understand if that's the only time you get to go there, absolutely take advantage of it. But just know beforehand, book those tickets as soon as you can. As soon as you know your dates for Rome, go ahead and start looking at your tickets for the sites that you want to see, like the Colosseum and the Vatican, because the longer you wait, the harder it's going to be to get those tickets. The tickets are going to be for less preferable times and maybe a lot more expensive than you want to pay for them.
And of course, don't let us dissuade you from going in the summer, but if you have your preference, and all things being equal, I like those winter months. And if you look, November is the beginning of the slower season going all the way to April. And, November temperatures average about 65 degrees. So would you rather walk around in 65 degrees or 95 degrees? Do you want to go in June, July, August, or November/April? Just depends on what you're more comfortable with walking. But a lot of people fear, because Rome is a very walkable city. If you're going to be walking 20,000 steps. Would you rather do it at 60 degrees or 90 degrees?
And would you rather do it with 600,000 people or 6,000 people?
Now, this last time we went, it was when there was a tour group coming from our ship, but there were 6 ships in our port, a whole nother port with a bunch of ships. I don't know how many. And nowadays, cruise ships are just so big. You're talking mega ships that can dump 6,000, 7,000 people at a time into a city. Times that by ship after ship after ship, plus buses, plus trains, plus every plane and automobile around. It is a busy city.
So that's a good time to mention that currently there are a lot of tourism strikes in Europe
yeah.
and taxi strikes as well. So make sure that that's something, a situation that's obviously developing all the time. It's different every day, day to day. But that might be something that you want to look into before your trip and keep abreast of during your trip so you know what's going on locally. You know the temperature. You don't accidentally end up on the wrong side of a protest or depending on a taxi that's not going to be there the day that you need it.
Yeah. So if I was to pick my perfect Rome vacation, my trip to Rome.
Okay, plan your Roman dream trip.
Now, Rome wasn't built in a day, and you shouldn't see it in a day. I would say a minimum of 4 days.
Okay.
4
all right,
days.
4 days.
1 day dedicated to the Vatican in Vatican City. Seeing the Sistine Chapel is unprecedented, amazing. I
Gotta do
loved
it.
it. That's very cool style. So spend a day at the Vatican. That way you can wear yourself out seeing everything there. You can do your research on your phone, whatever you need to do.
Right. You're not in a rush to see things, so you can really take your time to see as much as possible and learn while you're there.
1 day for the Forum and the Colloseum. Okay? You can spend a good bit of time walking through that Forum. You can kind of research online. You can take pictures and photography. That's a full day. And the Colosseum's amazing. The size of it, the history behind it, it is absolutely epic. It's one of my top 5 buildings in the world to see. I love architecture, and that one is definitely up there and one of the favorites that I've ever seen. It's right up there with the Great Pyramids.
You know what my favorite part of seeing the Colosseum was? It wasn't actually the Colosseum or the Forum. I loved going up to Palatine Hill and seeing kind of where this idea of building Rome actually happened and being able to see just how beautiful that was. Like, you could really put yourself in history. You could kind of like envision what, Romulus and Remus must have been thinking when they were looking out over this. And you can see the, all of these beautiful buildings. You can see the Colosseum, of course. You can see these, gorgeous orange groves and things that emperors built. And it was just, it was absolutely beautiful. That was my favorite part of that particular day.
You know what I thought you were going to say? Your favorite part of the Colosseum was?
What?
The cats. There are a lot of cats at the
Yes,
Colosseum.
yes.
When it's crowded, you don't see them as much. When it's emptier, they're kind of shuffling around and doing cat stuff. So now those were the first 2 days of my 4-day vacation.
Yes.
The last 2, I would do that hop on, hop off big red bus. They're in pretty much every major city. You see them in London, you see them in Paris, you see them in Rome. And I love the convenience of being able to hop on a double-decker bus, have a bunch of stops, and take you wherever you need to go. You don't have to worry about traffic. You don't have to worry about calling a cab or an Uber or whatever. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about finding parking and driving or walking across town. You just hop on the bus and it'll take you to the Vatican. Hop on the bus, it'll take you to that giant white, I call it the War Museum, what is it? Vittorio Emmanuel.
Yeah, Monumento Nacional de Vittorio Emmanuel II.
Vittorio Emmanuel II, that big white building. But you can just jump on the bus, and that is fantastic for me. So I do 2 days of that. That way you can see all the little churches and all the different locations, go to cool places to eat, go to Trevi Fountain, go to the Spanish Steps, maybe see Mass, but being able to stop at those
Take your
stops.
time, do some shopping near the Spanish Steps. It has some great, if you are into fashion at all, obviously Italy has some of the greatest fashion in the world, and even just watching the street style of the people there is absolutely incredible. I saw some of the most beautiful suits I've ever seen in my life in 95-degree weather from just Roman men, just completely snatched, looking amazing, walking around in the summer heat. I don't know how they do it, but it was super fun to see all of the fashion. The people watching was incredible. The shopping is incredible, and the food, oh my goodness, that was some of my favorite dining experience was there as well.
You know, I got this fantastic ensemble in Rome.
You did?
This was Amazon, Koofandy. But yeah, folks, you know what else I would do is if you're going to stay there, stay in the city center.
Yeah.
You can get hotels anywhere from $200. There's some around the $100. They're kind of more hostel-y type environments, all the way up to $2,000. I would stick in that $250, $250 a night range. You can get a nice place in city center that gives you walkable access to all the things you want to do. Now, don't go to, well, I shouldn't say don't go to Rome. It's best to go to Rome if you expect to walk. You go to Rome expecting to walk.
Right. So another thing, as far as good tips, I would say is set your expectations.
Yeah.
So oftentimes we're travel content creators, so we get it. You want to present everything in the best way. Like we're trained automatically to, get the best angles and the best shot and the best photo. However, sometimes that doesn't capture the full reality of what it's like to actually experience a place. So if you're just scrolling Instagram and you see all these beautiful pictures of someone at the Trevi Fountain, you can think that, wow, the Trevi Fountain must be this beautiful, serene, desolate location. And obviously that is not accurate. It's packed. There's tons of people there. Everyone wants to see all of those amazing, iconic Roman sites. So you're going to be competing with thousands, tens of thousands of other people at any given moment. So just set your expectations accordingly, and hopefully that means that you won't be disappointed when you get there, because you don't have unrealistic expectations that it's just going to be you frolicking through the Colloseum on your own. It's more likely that it's going to be quite crowded and you're going to have a long lines and you need to bring your patient pants for the day.
Yeah. I will make a note that for anyone who's familiar with our channel, we're not trying to get those best pictures. We've got friends this way with Tay. She's going to get you the prettiest pictures.
Right.
We're going to get you the most authentic and realistic pictures where it's a little more. We're going to show you if it's crowded. If it's not, we're going to tell you that. If it's too hot, we're going to let you know. But if it's beautiful weather, we're going to let you know. And that's one of the things about this channel is we strive to be very honest with our videos and give you a realistic idea.
Right.
We went to, was it Bourdain Les Mimosas? And we showed you what that French city really looks like. We're not just there trying to get a really cool picture next to a tree.
Right, exactly. We'll get you the entire shot that includes all of the other diners in the background, that it's not just a solo romantic cafe with just the two of us and the flowers.
If there's 40 people taking pictures, we're going to show you all them.
Right, exactly. We promise, our promise to you is that we will never use a filter and we're never going to use Photoshop unless it's on weird big heads in our thumbnails.
Those are funny though. So yeah, folks, and this is a good time to remind you, if you watch this far, please click that subscribe button. We do appreciate all of our friends and people that leave comments and everything. We're still small enough to where we can reply to most of the comments. We're not getting them so much that we're overloaded, so we appreciate that. Right. We watch a lot of travel channels. Travel with Chris is one of my favorites, and we aspire to bring you a friendly environment where you can talk about things, not feel attacked in those comments. Click subscribe, click like, and we do appreciate that.
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay. So any other tips for Rome?
So one big thing that I learned, and this is not necessarily specific to Rome, but we went on a cruise, and I would have done that differently, is all I would say.
Yeah.
Is that, when you have those big cities that have so much to offer, Rome, Paris, London, Buenos Aires, incredible cities of the world, hitting them on a cruise ship, I just don't think does them justice. No. And it's probably going to, I thought of it as it's going to be a sampler platter. And you know what? It just left me unsatisfied.
Yeah.
I really wish that as far as the opportunity cost, that instead of Rome for 12 hours, I had gone to a smaller port, maybe, a smaller city that doesn't have quite as much to offer. So I could have actually seen more and done more and got more of a local feel for the food and the culture and the people, where I just felt like Rome, I hardly even scratched the surface.
No, you didn't see much. Comparatively.
You can be tempted into, your cruise itinerary getting lulled into these big name cities that you want to go that are on your bucket list. But I would say that maybe that's not the best way to see those cities. And I think if I had to do it over again, my own personal, looking back, what I would have done differently is I would have saved Rome for its own 4 days, my perfect 4-day Roman itinerary, and maybe taken a cruise that goes to smaller places, for example, the Greek Isles or something that I'm less likely to spend an entire 4 days on a small island off the coast of Croatia. Gone to somewhere like that versus Rome and saved Rome for its own thing.
Yeah. What did Anthony Bourdain say about Paris?
So I won't get the quote exactly right, but I really like this one as far as his travel philosophy. He said, if you're going to Paris and you have booked your entire day just going to the Eiffel Tower and going to the Louvre, you're really unlikely to have anything magical happen. Nothing special is going to happen in that day. You're going to kind of be like on your field trip, if you will. Just kind of shuttle from place to place, maybe see some cool things, maybe learn a few facts, but it's unlikely that anything really special is going to happen in your travel. You need to have some downtime, some free play time. You need time to be bored.
Free play.
You need time to be bored. You need time to explore. You need time to get lost. And I think those are the moments in travel where fun things happen.
We spent a week in Bangkok last year.
Yes.
And I think we got to experience Bangkok a lot more that way than we would have ever done had we gone on a cruise ship, which was our alternate. Right. We stayed in a really nice hotel or take a cruise that stops in 6 cities. Mm-hmm. And it turns out that spending a week in a big city, you see so much more of it than just little tastes. And you pick your preference. So we've got some FAQs. Okay, so I'm going to ask these questions and I'll let you answer them.
Oh, I don't know if I know the answer. I don't know what the questions
are.
So
Steve Smith asks,
okay,
do I have to worry about pickpockets in Rome?
Oh, yes. I would say any city in the world, especially any crowded city, you should at least have some street smarts about you. I think that, yes, in Rome you do. It's maybe not as notorious for pickpockets as, say, Barcelona. Mm-hmm. But absolutely be wary. Be just cognizant of your surroundings and make sure you stay safe.
Aaron T. asks, is it safe to bring my kids?
Absolutely, of course. Definitely, I think children can learn a lot and probably will remember and care more about their history lessons if they go to a city like Rome early on, and they can really put a place to their fact.
Right. Tabitha asked, did you get to see the Spanish Steps and what did you think?
We did get to see the Spanish Steps. They were super fun, but a little bit underwhelming, I would say, as far as everything else
compared to everything else
in Rome. The Spanish Steps were probably the more just these are just steps. And there were Roman police yelling at people not to sit on the steps, so it was hard to even get a photo opportunity, and you couldn't really even sit there and relax. It was just sort of move along, see these steps, and get out. And
Fair enough. Yeah, it was. I think Trevi Fountain was much more interesting than the Spanish Steps. The Spanish Steps, it was you could sit on them for a second and you're on some steps. They've just got great history.
Yeah.
But in terms of everyday, they're not super exciting. There's that fountain near them that's pretty cool, though.
Yeah, the fountain near them, I don't know the name of that one, but that was really fun, and it was fun to watch kids kind of playing in the fountain, and there's weird pedestals where you can stand on it and kind of drink from the fountain. So that was really cool to see. I thought that was actually more interesting than the Spanish Steps.
And Marcus VP asks, what's our next travel? Where are we going next?
I can't tell you where we're going next. Maybe I can. I don't know when this is going to publish.
I think you can tell them.
We're going to Michigan. We're going to...
Is that the one? I didn't know because we have a couple secret trips coming up.
We do have two.
I was thinking the Cancun one was the secret.
Both of are technically secret trips, but our next one is we are going to Michigan. We're going to surprise Adam's dad for Father's Day. So it's a little bit of a secret. Keep it hush-hush.
Coming up this weekend. I think I will publish this after we've already got on the plane, so we'll be okay.
That's good.
We'll
keep
the secret. Nobody tell my dad. Dad, if you are watching to 18 and a half minutes, please stop the recording.
Also, maybe we should see how well they watch this, actually.
Oh, yeah, this is a test. This might be how they find out we're going to surprise them. So, folks, yeah, again, click that subscribe button. We really appreciate it. You know what Watson, our editor, pointed out that we should really focus on and that separates us from a lot of travel channels?
What's that?
That we are a couple that actually like each other that are doing a travel channel. There's not a lot of those. I think, is it Ship Life, the couple that just got engaged? Is that the channel name?
Congratulations to them. They are sweet. I like watching them as well.
Big shout out to them. But I like the idea of being that we're unique in that way.
Yeah, I do like that. There are there are a lot of like solo female travelers. There are a lot of like family and even van life, RV, like with kids and everything traveling. And obviously there are a ton of male travelers that are all over the world. But yeah, maybe we can be
Give
kind of in
couples
that.
tips for that sort of thing.
Yeah, couples tips, and especially like people that maybe like don't have kids or you're retired, and you're ready to go to more adult-friendly places, and what your travel tips are for that.
You know what one of my favorite travel location was for a couple?
What?
Ibiza, Spain.
Yes.
Way more beautiful than I thought. I thought it was just techno clubs and whatever. Those beaches are fantastic. And we got a video about that. So
Yeah.
search through and find that Ibiza video if you get a chance.
Absolutely. That was my big surprise. Ibiza is definitely a place that I'm very glad that we got to spend a couple days in, and I would definitely go back to.
Yeah, that was a surprise. Amy really wants to. We haven't hit Morocco yet. We haven't hit Casablanca.
Yes.
So we've got a few travels in our future. So make sure to stick around. Click the bell for all the notifications. Did we have anything else?
No, I think that's it.
All right, folks. Thanks again for watching. You know we love and appreciate you. And goodbye, my friends.